Okay, well, you've covered a lot of the good territory. And so what we're seeing is we're seeing a reflection of what we discussed, I think, was it last week or the week before about Mali.
Yeah.
Mali, dug deep and say, we're going to get the gold on our terms. And that company that it was dealing with, even though they had, quote unquote, won arbitration, had to come back and deal on Mali's term. So I think Niger is definitely just copying that approach that as their template. They are, and of course, they are both in the alliance of Sahel states.
Yes.
So, and a couple of other points. So, Niger needs to, first of all, so we're discussing going forward, they need to also go back because Orano has been mining since before 1960, since before even independence. They need to do what Jerry Rawlings did with Kaiser Aluminum when Rawlings came to power. Because Kaiser had twisted Nkrumah's arm. Kaiser said, we will buy electricity from the Volta power project on our own terms for the aluminum smelter. And Nkrumah really saw the long-term value of the project, the Volta River project, so he accepted it. So basically, Kaiser was making, loads of profit all these decades. So Rawlings came and he said, we have to renegotiate this contract. And Kaiser refused. So Rawlings basically cut off the electricity and Kaiser had no choice. And Kaiser said, wait a minute, the terms of the contract, you're violating it by cutting the electricity. And then Rawlings' team came back and said, no, the water level is very low. So it's not generating a lot, sufficient energy, even though they were cutting it off. So Kaiser ended up agreeing to pay 3 times more than the previous contract had called for, 300%. And no private company would be willing to pay 300% more unless it is still making a profit. Otherwise, they would walk away, which means at the very least, they'd been robbing Ghana by 300% since that project was built in 1965, right? So Niger needs to go back and have a forensic accounting of this contract going back to before the 1960s, and any money owed should be paid. And then they'll say, okay, now we can negotiate going forward. That's how they should deal with Orano. And then finally, think about it. Sister, you mentioned 25% of the uranium that is used by European uranium companies comes from Niger. And yet per capita income in Niger is $700. Criminal. And that needs to change immediately. And I hope that's what they're looking to do with this new bargaining position they're taking.